Hey friends, Kim from Stamping and Perfection. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm very excited to be here to share some of the October release products from Cat Scrappiness. I'll be playing with the Dress Up Quokkas and this fabulous Thanksgiving costume add-on set, and I am just loving the fact that there are a couple little costumes and a lot of little extra stamps to help create some really sweet scenes. So I decided that I wanted to play with this reverse scallop mini slimline die, and it's got a hello sentiment in there that has the script hello and then the nice background piece to go with it, which just makes it a lot more versatile. So these mini slimline size cards have really become one of my favorites. Now, I also found this great little goodie bag tucked into my box today when it arrived. I got a candy cane, this gorgeous little mix of Christmas embellishments, and then there was a Cat Scrappiness pad and a little scratch off. That is a scratch off coupon on there, so you can save something on your next order, and the coupon is good until February. And Kathleen will be tucking one of those in every box she sends out, so that's pretty exciting. I'll be linking all the products below. So I went ahead and stamped the two little outfits I wanted to use. I just couldn't resist those pilgrim costumes and the two quokkas I'm going to use. So I keep my coloring very simple, and I'm only going to show just this one so you see how I go about my coloring. I am using the C colors, C10, C8, C6, C4, C2, and C0. And I just tend to put the darkest color along the edges or underneath things where I would expect to have a shadow. Then I take a second color and go over what I just put down, making it a little bit wider. And then since these are such small images, I'm going to just take my third color and add it so I have a little highlight there. And I think when you're coloring, don't overthink it too much. You just want to have some contrast in colors, and whether you're careful about light source or not, it won't matter because people will notice that you have darker spots and lighter spots, and that's what really matters. So I keep it pretty simple. And I do color in the white. I don't color it in completely. Here I'm using C2, and I'm just kind of flicking it on the edges, and then I take C0 and then soften the outsides. So I did add some sweet little pink, and here you can see I'm only coloring in part of the quokkas, and I'm just using E35 and E34 to do the quokkas. I'm not actually putting too much time in coloring those just because they're going to have those cute little outfits on there. So I did add a little bit of orange to the belt and the hat band, and also to the apple pie tin on that the female quokka is holding. I just thought these were really sweet, and I enjoyed coloring them in. So I am going to go ahead and die cut all of these out with a coordinating die set. So here you can see I've got a piece of Bristol cardstock, and I've cut this at 4x6. I also cut my card base at 6x7 and scored and folded it at 3.5. So I'm going to go ahead and I will be using this frame. It's going to create that reverse scallop frame with the frame toward the inside, or the scallop toward the inside, and I'm going to create a background for that. I love that that is a frame that I can make any kind of background. It would make it very simple to turn this into a shaker card. So I'm using Bristol paper here just because I love how easily this blends. This is like the perfect paper for blending because it's super smooth. And you can see I chose Mowed Lawn Distress Oxide, and I then chose Scattered Straw. I wanted this to be fall colors, but I also wanted it to be like a bit like a grass and sky here, so I could create a little scene with the two quokkas that I have colored in and die cut out. And you can see my little pile of die cuts there. So I'm just blending those together, and I'm just going to keep blending till my green and my yellow blend together nicely. And if you aren't happy with your blend, just keep blending. Add a little bit more ink and just keep blending them together. And when you're blending, try not to stop. Like, we get interrupted a lot when we're having our craft time, but try not to stop if you can. You want to get it all blended while that ink is wet, because they will play better together. The ink colors will play better together if they're still wet while you're blending them, and then they dry together, and it looks so nice when they're dry. So I just keep working on going back and forth. This is spiced marmalade, and once I got that down, I picked up that scattered straw blending tool again, just to go over the line between the two and really smooth that out. So I'm just going to clean up my table. Don't forget to do this. And you'll notice I had a paper towel that I was holding over that, so I would not get my fingerprints all over everything. So I tend to make a mess with the ink. So I'm going to go ahead and cut out with that Scallop Slimline, mini Slimline die, this reverse scallop. I'm going to cut out a frame in this dark chocolate brown color that I have. And I also cut out the base of the Hello sentiment that is included with those 3 different reverse scallop rectangles, and I cut the hello out of a little bit of that blended paper that I had left over when I trimmed the paper down to size to fit behind the frame. So I'll put that aside to dry, and now I'm just going to dress my Quokkas. So I'm just using a liquid glue. You could use foam here if you wanted to pop up the clothes a little bit, to add a little bit of dimension. And I'm not adding a ton of dimension on this card. I am going to add some foam in a couple different places because I do love dimension on a card. And this is actually really fun to build. So I actually think this is a super fun idea to have these dress-up Quokkas, and then to come out with a set of outfits for them for each month or each holiday. I think that's a super fun idea. These will be so cute to send. I think I'm going to send this one to my daughter. She will definitely appreciate this for Thanksgiving. So I'm putting his little hat on, and I do find that I work better if I have a pair of tweezers that I can hold them with. So I'm just building all my pieces, and I started to lay this out. So here I almost messed this up because I wanted to just put it around the edge, and then I started to put the glue toward the center because that is what I usually do with the card backs. So caught myself in the nick of time, and I just want to put that around, and I can blot up any excess ink there that I have on the outside edge. And I'm just going to touch up a couple places because that liquid ink does actually lift the color. So I just dab a little bit more ink on there, and I've got a nice border around that frame from the white card base, and I'm going to add some foam tape to this part. So this is just 1/4 inch foam tape, and I'll add it to the outside edges, and I'll put a couple strips on the inside just so it doesn't bend if I do end up mailing this. A lot of times when I send cards to my daughter, I'm usually sending a box with other stuff in it, and the card will go in the box, so I don't have to be as careful about putting foam all over it. So I added that to my card front, and I really like the way that looks. It feels like a Thanksgiving card. So my thought was that this would fill the card, but it wasn't enough. Like, it definitely needs more there, and I tried it in a couple different ways. I like all the ways. I think this would look cute no matter how you lay this out. I'm just going to add a little, I didn't quite line my die cut up right here, so I'm just adding a little color to just above the shoes. And I decided I really want some of those other little extra stamps, so I created a whole bunch of pumpkins. I decided I also wanted to distress my background a little bit, so I spritzed it with some water, let it sit for a few seconds, and then blotted it up. And I always think that helps give that background a little bit more interest. Like, just almost makes it feel textured, and it just gives it a little bit of interest. So I did not pop the sentiment up on foam. I just glued that to my card base, and then I used foam behind the two little pilgrims, and I decided I would glue down the two larger pumpkins, one in each of the lower corners. And I used YR16, YR15, YR14, and YR20 for the pumpkins, and a couple of greens, a darker green and a lighter green, for the little stem on top. So the smaller pumpkins have foam so that they have a little bit of dimension. I'm going to add a couple of those leaves. I love the leaves. And I just use some browns and a little bit of yellow to finish those off. And now I really want to add some of these gorgeous Jasper stone pearls. This mix is beautiful. I love that there are such a great variety of sizes in here. And these have like a brown and blue and creamy color to them. They're very beautiful. And I'm going to add a bunch because there's a lot in this package, and I love all the different sizes. So I'm just adding a bunch of these, and I'm just putting them all over. Sometimes I just sprinkle them on with my fingers and glue them on where they land. It's kind of fun to do that sometimes. Today I'm being a little fussier about where they're going to go. Now, one thing I love about this frame, this reverse scallop frame, is it would be so easy to turn this into a shaker card. And if I had had more time today, I definitely would have done that. I would have put some acetate behind the frame and popped that up on foam, and then glued that background piece I created directly to the card base. But that is going to complete my card, friends. And I will have all the links below. And I encourage you to check out some of the goodies in the shop, because she's got lots of 5x7 frames that she just released. My next video is definitely going to feature at least one of those. So I hope you enjoyed this. Please give this video a thumbs up, and make sure you subscribe to the Cat Scrappiness channel. And click the bell so you get notifications every time we upload a new video. Thanks for watching.